Hey there, welcome back. We're going to start our phase three. Sorry for the several day delay, but life is happening, and in fact, I have 1 week before I'm required to leave, and I'm going to be gone for like a month. So, yeah, we got to get our videos in. But I got a lot of other stuff to do too. All right, so we have the Russia-China Act, and Russia acted the first time, so now China's acting. And just a reminder, we got multiple plus one APs over here. So it's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. So I'm just going through my myriad of booklets. All right, for China. Okay, so they're posture one, and we got to flip the tension counters. We only have a two on the tension. That's good, or otherwise they would have changed their posture. If China is at posture one and not entitled to go to posture two, but their SOE is three or four, no, they got a great economy. So nothing's happening there. So the sum of the counters is not 0 to 1. There's no increment of 5. And then it says, now we remove these. Ay, ay, ay. What's going on? Sometimes you have to just zoom in. And even that didn't work. Alright, I'm going to hit L. Pick this guy up. I need to put this somewhere else. Like there. Now I'm not gonna have that problem anymore. So I put 3 of them in. So that means 2 of them come back out. Okay, what's next? Strategic capabilities. They're going to make 2 attempts. There's no sanctions. Any area where they trail by 2 or more. I believe that would be. There's 1. There's 2. So they're gonna make those are gonna be their 2 attempts, and then they succeed. I believe it's a 1 to 5. I'm looking. A 1 to 4 on posture 1. All right, so we're gonna do cyber warfare first. They succeed. Then we'll do strategic recon. Man, they succeeded in both cases. All right, we're still ahead of them though, which is good. And you would think a major nation would succeed. All right, now they're going to conduct espionage. They're going to make at least 1. So we're going to roll D10 and apply some DRMs. All right, an 8. Let's see. So the first one is they're checking to see if their cyber warfare is better than ours. It's not. Is there any relationship with the U.S. that's estranged? No. Um, if there's any ally except India and Saudi Arabia that's not very close? No. So if cyber warfare is better than China, which it is by 1, I would have actually gotten a +2 if they didn't succeed, but we're going to get a +1, so that 8 becomes a 9. And the next 2 are just checking for temporary markers. Yeah, so we moved it up to a 9, which is no effect. That is excellent. An 8 would have been no effect too. So we were fine either way. Anything below an 8 would have been bad for us. And I think if we would have been able to push it up to 10, we actually would have gotten stuff ourselves, which is interesting. So the fact that they improved their strategic capability like they did saved them. All right, let's keep going. Like, even though this is a long process, this is starting to get quicker for me too. So now they're going to try to improve their economy as long as it's not already at 7, which it's not. So we're going to roll d10. They rolled a 10. That's probably not going to be good for them. No sanctions. They have an influence counter in Asia and Pacific, Central South Asia, Middle East, or Africa. Wow, hold on. Asia and Pacific, no. Africa, 1. Central South Asia, 1. So they have 2 of them. So that 10 becomes an 8. It's -1 for each one. And then a -1 or 2 if their relationship is 4 or 5. It's a 4, so that 8 becomes a 7, which they would have had a worsening economy, but it changed to no change. Alright, so their number of actions is equal to the current value of the SOE track plus 1. Now this is the part that's crazy. So they have a 6 plus 1, which makes it a 7, and then this is 8, 9. Wow. They have 9. I don't even have the ability to represent that here. But let's keep going. Okay, terror in Central South Asia. If there's 5 total terror group levels in Central South Asia, there's 2. They actually would have removed 1. Quell rising descent by addressing internal issues. So we're going to roll d10 and subtract 1 because their economy is good. 4 minus 1 is 3. Use 1 China action to address massive social infrastructure issues. That's a good one, because that means they dropped to 8 actions, and that really didn't impact us. China's not at war. There's no sanctions on China. China is not at war again. There was 2 checks for China at war. Alright, so now we go to cyber attack. So they're at 8 actions. They're definitely going to do 1. It says make 1 attack if they're posture 1. Alright, so here we go. So 8 means they're going after India. And then we roll again on the chart. I don't see any DRMs. Higher number the better. A 2 is not good. So China cyber is less than US cyber, so it means it's just a success and not a major success. Increase the regional crisis by 1 box. Alright, that's livable. So that moves to 3. And that means they're down to 7 actions now. 1 belt, 1 road. Place a trending anti-US counter on China's relations with the US track. Then perform the following steps using the list of Belt and Road regions. Asia Pacific, Central South, Middle East, Africa, Europe, and Eurozone. And all this is just 1 action. Jeez Louise. So they are down to 6 now. Count the number of Belt and Road regions that have either 3 China influence or a China base. And again, it's Asia Pacific, which has none. Central South Asia, which has 1. The Middle East, which has 0. and Africa, which has 0. If there are 0 to 1 such regions, perform option A, which is what we're going to do. Place one Chinese influence counter on the 2 Belt and Road regions where China has the fewest influence. So one's going to go here. So that moves them up to 4. Eastern Europe and Eurozone are also in the list. So in order, that would be Eastern Europe is next. So now they're up to 5. Regardless of which option you choose, immediately place 2 tension counters on China and 1. Alright, let's get the first one out of the way. 1, 2, and then it said 1 on Japan. It's a big long list. India, Australia, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. China's like upsetting everybody with this action. Okay, so they're down to 6 actions now. Next one. Expand their influence. If any has 3 or more, there is not. Make one roll on the first region specified. If there's 0 to 1, oh, you know what? This would have gone here. This is their top priority. Okay, getting back to the attempt to expand Chinese influence in Asia Pacific if there's 0, 1, and no base. Alright, make one roll. See below. Okay. Roll a d10. And add the U.S. regional alignment. So we have an 8, and we add 6 more. So I've got a 14. So they failed, but it counts as an action. So we finally got them down to 5. So it says attempt to expand in one region. So that's what we just did. So we're not going to attempt it anymore. So we move on to the next action. If China has relative strength on the China-Japan or India-China conflict track that is equal or lower than their enemy, build their strength. So they're not equal in Japan. And then for the India one, where are you at? They're not equal on that one either. So they're fine. If Pakistan is at war with India, it's not. If the India-Pakistan conflict track is 3 or higher. Where? Okay, that's here. Nope, it's at 2. Yeah, none of these apply, so we're skipping the action. Secure the sea lanes. If there's 2 Chinese influence counters or a China base in Asia Pacific, there is not. They have 1. Make one roll on the first region specified. Expand Chinese influence in Central America if the regional alignment is 7 or less. It is. It is. And there are 002 counters. And either regional alignment in South America is 7 plus. It's not. There are 2 Chinese influence counters in South America. There's not. If you don't immediately reduce US alignment in Asia Pacific by 1 full box. Ugh. So we got dropped to 5. And then in Printing Pro, so the China relations actually goes down by 1. Oh, I'm sorry. This was the secure sea lanes situation that caused the box to go down. Um, so that's an action. That brings us down to 4. The secure sea lanes did do something. And then now we're getting back to the expand in South America. Okay, attempt to expand Chinese influence in South America if alignment is 7 or less. Roll a d10, add the regional alignment. 10 or less is added. Oh, darn it. Okay, they got one. So South America gets a second one. And the actions drops to 3. Okay. Veto UN sanctions. I don't think there is one anymore. Russia took care of that. I don't think there's a UN sanction anywhere. Alright, so we skip that. Oil partnership. Roll d10. I didn't look at the results, but I'm assuming higher is better. 8. Place a China influence counter in the Middle East. And then we have to do a regional alignment check. If I fail, anti-US counter goes in the region. Come on. Alright, now we went low. That was not low enough. So, unless there's already one there. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one. Oh, hold on. We have a 6. I was looking here. We are at 6. We passed. Yes. I didn't think we had that much alignment in the Middle East, but we do. They still get the influence, and that does still cost them an action. So they're down to 2. Now they're going to do cyber warfare against the U.S. economy. This is the thing that burned us last time. We literally lost the game. If China posture is 2, otherwise skip this action. Okay. We are skipping the action. Prepare for war. China will provoke and intimidate either India or Japan. They may only do each of them once per turn. If one of the countries has already been selected, select the other one. Alright, provoke, intimidate. Okay, so this is definitely happening. They're going to drop down to 1 action. Provoke, intimidate India. Unless China has relative strength, at least 2 greater than India, build military to prepare for war. So the China-India one Their relative strength is just +1. Let's see. Move it 1 box in their favor, and then increase the crisis by 1, which is going to hurt us. So that goes up by 1, but this is the part that hurts. They just caused the crisis to go to 3. So now we got to deal with the crisis. There's nothing I can do. They made this thing go up twice. Regional major crisis, page 2. Alright, we're going to have to roll. Higher numbers are usually better for us. Is the stability... Where is the stability? It is a 5. So there's no changes, plus or minus. Oh, it's a -1. Oh, I see. The higher numbers is actually bad for us in this case. If a major regional crisis breaks out, -2 public approval. So 1, 2. We dropped. This drops to a 2. And then stability is 5. So let's get back to this. So it says -1 for every very close ally. We rolled a 7. India makes it a 6. +1 for ceasefire civil war. +2 if there's at least one war. So now it's an 8. And +1 for game created rogue state. That becomes a 9. Decrease regional stability, 1 box. If there's a U.S. ally in the region, decrease the relationship. And put a trending anti-U.S. counter. So, no longer very close. Yeah, that one's getting bad. That whole region. And then it becomes trending anti. And then we gotta do refugees. So the region is South Asia. Creates a flood of refugees that overwhelm local capacities. Put a -1 AP on Russia. Or China if it's Asia Pacific. And place a -1 AP on one U.S. ally in the region. So, okay, so China gets a -1 AP because of this. That's what you get. And then we need to put a -1 AP on India. Like so. So that means, yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything. Alright, we're not done. So that was just them provoking India. So it says only 1 attempt per turn. Okay. And then you like the event that you have completed this actions list and China still has actions remaining. For each remaining action, roll a d10, determine a random region, and place an influence in that region. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. They have 1 action left. So here we go. We rolled a 4, which is the Middle East. So China and Russia are both ready to put bases in the Middle East. Alright. There's not much I can do about that, although we do have the regional alignment up fairly high. I have to get the crisis to 0. Not happening anytime soon. Okay, so China acted. Now we get to do any three actions. And like we learned last time, I get bonus actions. I don't know how to apply those when I get to do any three. I guess as long as I do one with each one, I get a bonus. That part is nebulous to me. And in the presidential action, you wouldn't get a bonus because you're not using your. All right. Well, I mean, one of the actions I usually like to do is get India back to very close. So I'm gonna pause and think about what I need to do here. Okay. So action one. I want to do military. We're gonna cyber attack the rogue state that we're at war with. So that requires a world chart. Page 10. Alright, so we're going to roll. There are some DRMs that apply. Lower better. Ooh, a 1 is fantastic. We get a minus because we're 1 better than Russia and China in cyber. Another minus because it's a rogue state. So we're basically at -2. 2 or less, it's a major success. Decrease the rogue state by 1 level if at war. Immediately subtract 2 from their strength. -2 DRM to the reaction roll. So I don't know what this means, because like if I'm at war with them, if I reduce that by 1 level, I guess I'm at war with a level 4 terror group now. And they get -2 strength. That's the big one. So that means they drop down to 5 strength. It's going to make my ratio a lot better. And they get a -2 to their DRM. Not for espionage. Where is it? First of all, we used our cyber attack. Oh, I'm sorry. -2 to the DRM of my roll I'm doing right now. Okay. So that's a 2. Hold on a second, I'm testing something. Okay. I hit the E button instead of R. 5. Which gets reduced to a 3. The Accusif was a cyber attack. Most of the world has no reaction. Many privately thank the US for its efforts. +1 approval. Roll D10. We rolled a 6. A tension marker goes on North Korea. Alright. So that was really good. We crippled that. And then we're going to do the military aid as our bonus action. So the problem is Russia or China is going to add 1. My Secretary of Defense rating is going to subtract 1. So it's going to be whatever I roll. Lower is better. 7 is no good. I mean, it's at least decent. It reduced the regional crisis by 1. I could have done all kinds of stuff if I'd have rolled lower. Alright, so that's that. The next one is my big dilemma. I either get India back to very close, but I don't get a bonus action, or I domestically hammer this to try to get this to improve, because I have good situation, and then diplomatically, I have influence markers I can try to remove, and regional crisis markers to reduce. All these are in the realm of possibility. Now, the reason why this is a dilemma is I get bonus actions if I'm doing domestic diplomatic. If I'm improving India back to very close, I am not going to get a bonus action because that's a presidential action. So then I have to choose which one am I not going to do? Domestic over here or diplomatic over there? I feel like since we passed a landmark bill, I'm going to get credit for doing at least something during my first year in office. So I'm not going to mess with this. We're going to focus on world affairs. The Middle East is horrible. This area is bad. And then there's other things that I can just stay on top of. Like, for example, we're going to try to remove the influence here. Although we dropped to a 5, so I can't anymore. Oh, darn. Here I could do it, but I have to have regional crisis to 0. Like, look at this. Regional crises are up everywhere. I can do this one as long as the regional crisis is 0. Yeah, there's nowhere I can remove influence at this point. So, this might be why I want to spend time over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the die to improve India. That is a horrible roll. Oh my gosh. I would have spent an AP. That's what my mistake is I'm trying to go too fast. So there's no change. Now what do I do? I'm going to try again. Can I do it more than once? Only once. Okay, so then I'm going to... I can't remove influence markers, but I'm going to try to reduce crisis. So let's start with the Middle East. A 6 definitely does the job. In fact, if I can get a 1, I decrease it by 2. And I do get to subtract the military rating, or the diplomatic rating. Alright, so I got that down. There's so many others that are at 3 that I want to reduce. So I'm going to try, let's do the Eastern Europe. This one could possibly be reduced by my allies, although I think they've already gone. That 4 becomes a 3. That's enough to reduce this one to a 2. And yeah, I'm basically pulling levers right now. I'm not actually accomplishing anything. And just like that, we whizzed through 3 actions like it was nothing. Alright, now we're going to draw a crisis, or a chit. We get 2 cards. 1, 2. Technically they're in this order. Pope visits Foster. Oh, yes, this is a good one. +1 relations with Congress. Dang, dang, dang. +1 media relations. +2 public approval. Move bipartisan cooperation right by 1 box. Oh my gosh. And then get 2 APs. This could not have been any more beautiful. Then make a party relations check. As long as I rolled low, I'm good. Because I'm at 8. That was a fantastic one. Too bad it doesn't go back in the reshuffle box. Alright, we've been getting some good events this game. Uh-oh. Not good. Attack. Draw and add 1 political opponent to Congress. Oh no. We worked so hard to get rid of them. -1 public approval. Move the energy independence public priority counter to the number 1 box. See, look, that's what I had. Sometimes I learned you don't listen to the public because they're so fickle. So Homeland Security is disappearing. Oh, where are you at? Energy independence is the new craze. Move everything down. Put that on the top. And then the media slant, which right now we're at +1 PA. So public approval goes up again. And then this is discarded. Those two were very decent. We survived that pretty well. But it has a plus sign, so we get another one. Oh no. Oh no. Russia acts. And they're still at posture 2, aren't they? Yeah, they are. That means it's going back in the cup. Alright, they do have a limited action, but it says this is a minor activation. Skip down to the remaining action hierarchy and perform only 2 actions. Cyber attacks. Make 2 attacks. Then roll a d10 to select one other random action. Okay, yeah, that's simple enough. So they're doing cyber attacks. First one is where. Lower numbers are worse. They're targeting our political cohesion. And then we're going to roll again. A 10 is excellent. They failed. That's the first time they've ever failed a cyber attack. Here's the next one. A 9 is Eastern Europe. A 6, and we have better cyber than them, is a fail. That is excellent. They missed it just by 1. Alright, and then we got to roll to see what other action they do. They're doing number 9. Middle East influence. If there's fewer than 3, if there are already 3, and there is a war in the Middle East, I don't think, well, there's a civil war. Does that count as a war? I think it does. Russia sends weapon to the rogue state or adversary. No, that's not a war. Otherwise, increase the regional crisis by 2 boxes. So they basically caused a major crisis. Those jerks. Alright, first thing that happens is we lose 2. This drops back to 2. And then we gotta roll against our table. Lower is better. A 6 is not great. It's the Middle East. Stability is only a 4. So they get a +1. It goes to 7. There are 2 very closes, which drops it down to 5. There's a civil war, which brings it back to 6. There's no rogue states. So we're at 6. Add a level 2 terror group to the region. Flip 1 unstable state to civil war, or otherwise add 1. Alright, so with the stability, they have a max of 5 that they can have. There's 4. So they have room to add another one. This is crazy. These three alone are going to just destroy the Middle East. Well, that's it. There's no crisis, which was good, or no refugees to roll for. So that was Russia. I guess it could have been worse. No plus sign, so we're done. So now we move to this Ally Road Group X, and it's going to be Group C. And Group C is page 8. And that's the one with India. That is jerks. Alright, so we start with Australia. They're going to get 2 actions. They have 1, 2, 3 tensions. I'm just looking to see what they can try to stabilize. They can locate terror groups, do stuff about that. Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove 2 stress. Just get rid of that. And then the next thing we will do is they can do something about the terror group. There's only one. I'm going to leave that be. I think we're going to request humanitarian aid in a region, and it can be any region, to help reduce the crisis by 1. So we could do Middle East, but I want to get Eurozone because that's pretty high. So we're going to go ahead and roll. We rolled a 1. Yeah, that definitely succeeded. So we reduce it by 1 box. Got to do their own region too. It's just, yeah, not enough time to do everything we want to do. Then this is a +1, and we're going to roll against their table. We rolled a 3. +1 makes it a 4. There's no 3 or 4 terror group in their area. There's 3 tensions on China, so that 4 becomes a 5. And then +1, because US is at war, so it becomes a 6. It says increase non-China regional trade. Remove 1 China influence counter from Asia Pacific. That is fantastic. I am very happy with that move. Alright, then this goes away. We draw a new one for that. Okay, next up is Israel. That is a region that needs a lot of love. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 tension. I do get 2 actions. I think they need to go after terror groups. So it's an auto success, 1 max. Locate any terror group, then place it in and gather intel, or move the group to the next box. Israel gets 2 intel successes per action. So they get 2 successes. So we're going to do 1, 2. And then I'm going to do 1, 2. I'm assuming you can target the same one twice. I mean, I know we could have like tried to reduce the regional crisis or whatever, but I actually think that's the right move because you got to do that while they're helping fight the bad groups in their own region. The increasing stability would have been nice, but okay. So then the difference though is I'm allowing all this to happen. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm okay with it because they're just going to go to war or whatever. I'm starting to realize that maybe their chart is not bad. Of course, we rolled a 1. So we added 7, so that becomes an 8. There's no rogue state. The Iranian nuclear missile program is a 3. So they're adding, round it up, so they're adding 2 more. So it becomes a 10. They're going to declare war, aren't they? The Israel conflict track. 1 more makes it 11. A blue result. If the result falls within a blue area and Israel's already at war, +1 to their strength. Alright, 11. Cyber attack versus Iran. So we're going to do chart WM3. Okay. Oh, I see. It's asking me to roll. So I rolled a 1. So the cyber attack is against critical government infrastructure. If it was a 7 or more, it would have been against the nuke. So now I just have to find the section for critical government infrastructure. There's Russia. There we go, Iran. Critical and military government infrastructure. Lower is better. 3 is pretty darn good. It becomes a 2 because our cyber is better. It becomes a 1 because it's attack against Iran. And then -2 if the ally is Israel or if Israel is attacking alone. So yeah, it's a -1. So they succeeded like in spades. Major success. Adjust relative strength on all 3 of Iran's conflict tracks by 1 in everybody's favor. Relative strength. Okay. So US Iran, Saudi Arabia Iran, Israel Iran. So we're all very strong. If Iran is at war, they're not. Okay, and then they get a -2 to their DRM roll, which is happening now. And 8's not good. 6 is better. A 6 did move it down a notch, which is good. Iran is incensed but uncertain. They think they know that you or Israel did it, but have no proof. +1 tensions on both Iran and Israel. And there's more. Let me resolve this first. So 1 on Israel, 1 on Iran, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to get 1, 2. I'm just taking care of this now. We know this is going to happen. Okay, but let's continue the rest here. I have to roll a d10. And 8. Iran increases subversion efforts in ME as a result. Increase 1 terror group. Oh, in Middle East, okay. Increase 1, level 1, 2, or 3 terror group in that priority in the Middle East. So this level 1 becomes a level 2. Alright. I don't know. I mean, it's not horrible. Um, I think I would have preferred that they reduced the nuke track, but yeah. I mean, it's Israel doing what Israel does. Okay, we're not done. They just went, and now India goes. So India has -1 AP, as you notice. So it means, and I only get 1 AP because I'm not very close. So basically, they don't do anything for the joint actions. So we're going to go ahead and we got a +2 for them. And that's going to go against their roll. So let's roll. They rolled an 8. They get a +2, makes it 10. India is not happy. +1 for every 3 or 4 terror group. They have a, so that makes it 11. And India China conflict is not at 2. India Pakistan is not greater than 2. Right, so I think we said that they're at 11, right? 8, 9, 10, and then one more is 11. So border tensions with Pakistan. Increase India-Pakistan conflict box by 1. And then it says brown results. If the result is brown, if India is at war, add 1 Indian strength to war instead of the listed results. Okay, they're not at war. Alright, we already removed all the tensions. And then rogues go. Perform this if they're for each rogue state counter on the map. I think there are 0 right now. Even though we're at war with 1, they got reduced to a level 4 terror group. So I don't know what is supposed to happen. I'm at war with this entity. Like, am I just no longer at war with them? I may need to look that up. It's like it's a weird thing that you would think this rulebook would focus on a lot more than it currently does. There are 0 rogue states, so they don't take any actions, which is fantastic. Next, we check unstable states in the Middle East and Africa. Let's do Africa first. Let's see what happens. On a 4 to 8, nothing changes. Nothing changes. I mean, if stability is less than 5, they get a +1. Next, there's none in the Middle East, so nothing happens. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to try to look up what happens to a rogue state that's reduced while you're at war. And let me pause, I'll be right back. Okay, so when they got reduced to a level 4, we could no longer be at war. So all this goes away. There's just no more war. So nothing happens. It seems a little anticlimactic. You would think we'd get public approval or something because a war ended. I'm going to check a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to check the war progress table just to see if there's something that covers that situation. And I mean, the game is very clear. When they get reduced to a 4, you can't do war against them. But it's saying you can't declare war. But I'm already at war. That's the problem I don't understand. Um, I'm going to leave it there for now. But this whole thing is, it's not really covered very well. Um, Now, the other question that popped into my mind that I also have concerns about is, oh man, oh, North Korea and Iran are considered rogue states. So do they activate during this rogue state activation, or is it game created rogue state? So I gotta check that as well. I'll be back. Okay, so this one took a little bit of digging, and it's because apparently there's an FAQ and a second edition of this game, if ever gets created, will address this. The game rules don't cover the situation of a group that you're at war with. But what it says is that the rogue state can never be reduced if you're at war with it. So you just always ignore it. And that is the case with cyber attacks, like we just did. It's also the case if you are doing end of turn activities here. So the only way this can be resolved is by resolving the war itself. But we do get to reduce its strength, so that part was true. Then the other one is, yeah, North Korea and Iran are considered rogue states, but when we're doing the rogue table, they have their own section. So whenever all rogue states act, they don't act. It's rogue state counters. It specifically says that on the instruction. So my dog is deciding to sit next to me. The only reason that's an issue is I have all these booklets, and she just sat on them. 1 second. Yes, you're welcome to be here. uh, okay. Sometimes she's worse than a cat. Nope, you would have stepped on it if you were on the table if you were a cat. All right. Um, so we have all those resolved. The thing though is that this rogue state does exist, so that means that they would have taken a turn. And the good news is we're still in that step. We didn't miss a beat. You know, we're still on this step. So they're gonna go ahead and do whatever they're gonna do. And I just gotta find the page. Oh, where are you? Alright, so if a level 1 rogue state is war, which they are, do only A. So we're going to roll a d10. A 5. They get +1 strength. And then it's going to be really bad news with this next roll. So the +1 strength puts them at a 6, which, I mean, we did reduce them, so that's what, 11, 13, 15 to 6. That's still just 2 to 1. It's not 3. When that thing was a 5, that was 3 to 1, so that really helped them. But here's the next part. They're going to roll, and if they get a 1 to a 5, then it gets changed to a guerrilla war. It does not, which that's what we wanted. We wanted it to stay right where it was. And that's it. So there's no terror impact because they were at war, so they don't do the part B. Okay, so we got it. And I'm just putting my document somewhere where it's not in my dog's way. And next thing we do is the POTUS cabinet focus, which is the fun part because we get to go through all this. There's no tensions. So let's start with number 1. We rolled a 5. That's a success. Improve RWC by 1 box. We got her all the way up to the top. Fantastic. Economy. Come on. I need this one. We got it. Improving economy marker. So we're going to get rid of this. Alright. We're 2 for 2. Okay, on a 1 to 3, cabinet effectiveness. Excellent. Now I got to roll again. We rolled a 4, so we get 3 AP points. Actually, I'll take that. I mean, we were low on APs, so that's good. 4. Domestic crisis. This one would be fantastic to pass. Excellent. -1 to domestic crisis. Perfect. And then 5. We failed. Considering how well we've been doing, I am totally okay. This one we're all right. Our media relations is good. Our public approval is good. And then number 6, Homeland Security. That one required a miracle roll. We didn't get it. So I am very pleased with that outcome. That was good. Alright, so now we go to -1 media relations, 2 domestic actions, and then legislative segment. So this is where we want to get this thing moved over one more. And we're at max. So I just need to grab my sheets here. So for domestic, there is a presidential domestic action where we can do presidential presence that possibly improves media relations. We can make the bill that was put in by the opposition start to fail. And then we got our own. So we can try to get rid of an opponent, which I'm going to get extra modifiers because I'm at 60% public approval. And our relations in Congress is high. The bipartisan one is just tough because you got to get a 1 or a 2, and that's it. There's nothing I can do to modify that one. Stimulating the economy. Not so sure I need to worry about that. Okay, I'm not worried about the bill. So what I'm going to do is let's try to improve bipartisanship. I need a 1 or a 2. A 6 is disastrous. 4 does nothing. I could try again. Actually, I get a bonus action. So let's use our bonus action to try again. Oh man. I'm going to spend an AP to roll again. That did not do me any good. So the other thing I was considering doing was removing a political opponent. We still have them outnumbered. They have 5 points. We have 9 points. Our media numbers are higher than theirs. I'm not too concerned, so I'm going to try to do it one more time. Oh man, I'm going to spend an AP. Let's try again. Oh, I cannot get that thing to move. So it just stuck. We spent all of our actions. So now we go to legislative segment, which is actually here. Alright, so total separate the legislative of all your friends, then subtract opponents. Total results is either greater than 3, which it should be. Because see, we're at 2, 4, 7, 9, minus 5. That's a 4, so the answer is greater than 3. If the result is positive, you may move that number of bills $1 in either direction. So, Social Security is... See, that's the thing. It's a public priority, so I guess because it's not my priority, I don't understand. Like, why would I not be in favor of it? I guess it's because the opponents get credit. So I'm going to move it 1 over. If the result is negative, da-da-da. The number in the current box in the bipartisan is the number of bills you must now attempt to pass. So control split. Who chooses the first bill to pass? You or opponents?
Dude, my body only can take so much. I'm not winning.
Alright. I get an even. To attempt, roll a d6, apply the DRM.
I'm not turning gay, bro. I gotta beat this mafia class. Just give me a second.
If any bill is passed, roll in the effects passed legislation table.
Come on.
See, I don't understand what all the consequences are. Like, do I try to... I mean, it's an opponent bill, so I'm assuming I don't want to pass this.
Come on. Come on. Oh, that was so difficult.
Just trying to find my domestic chart book.
Dude, guys, we could work it. We could work it at pizza place. How do I join you?
It's always the last one. Alright, so DM5. Effects of legislation. Each time you sign opponent's legislation, you get -1 party relations. But the bipartisan cooperation moves 1 box to the right. See, that's a good way to move it. I just spent 3 actions trying to move that sucker. I'm going to go ahead and try to pass it. So we're going to roll d6. Oh, that's not good. On a modified result, 1 to 3, the bill's passed. Apply the DRM, which was a +1. Yeah, no good. No bueno. No bills are passed, so we skip. Roll d6. We got a 4. Now we're going to go to this maneuvering table, which I do have open. Let me see what the DRMs are for this. So, cooperation is not in the left 2 boxes or the rightmost. I get a -1 because we're cooperating. Our RWC is 7 or better. So that becomes a 3. Another -1 because public approval is 60%. So that becomes a 2. Another -1 because we outnumber opponents, so it becomes a 1. Yeah, so we're doing great. Alright, so we know the friends outnumber. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm at 60% or greater. And then it either needed to be here or the left 2. So
No, they are.
none of those
No, they are
modifiers
not.
triggered.
No, they are not.
So we rolled a 1 on this chart, which is. Oh, I gotta go backwards. Good relationships yield approval and progress. If public approval is 60% or higher, or if relations with Congress is 7 or higher, which both are true, move a bill of your choice left by one box. Draw and add one friend to the friends box. Otherwise, you get a bunch of other stuff. Um,
My girly song
so
favorite.
my problem is I don't have a bill introduced. I mean, so we move this to the right because we wanted to oppose an opponent's bill. I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, I know I lose party relations by signing an opponent's bill.
Pressure is not trash. You're trash.
All right, so let me look at the Social Security
Ew.
because I may have not wanted to move it.
Yes!
Oh, why can't I find Social Security? Expanded military, NASA. It's bill number 1. Oh, here it is.
We're literally just gonna be
So it can cause the economy to worsen.
What did I say?
Yeah, I mean, assuming I don't roll really bad, some really good things happen.
I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. Why can I not move?
I mean, there might be some end of turn effects. So this is page 11. We're gonna have to come back to this. So like this is all the stuff that happens at the end of turn.
Get him, you win. Bro, win.
Um,
I can't move. Why can I not move, bro? Dude, I can't move. I can jump, but I can't move. Help. Help. How?
campaign promises.
How? How?
So there could be a negative effect if I don't do my campaign promise.
How do I reset my character?
But see, there's no like, hey, if you pass something that your opponent suggested, you know what? I think I'm gonna change our mind here. So the situation was you may move that number of bills one box in either direction.
Ew.
Their support in Congress. I don't understand. Like, why would I never approve these things? They almost always seem to be pretty good.
Bro.
Okay, so if I would have moved it this way, now I can attempt.
Just my white girl face.
I can move a bill of my choice left by one box and then add a friend.
This song's so booty.
Or I can.
That song is literally like the worst song Imagine Dragons ever made.
Um,
I would never
so the alternative of moving this to here is that we could. So the attempt to pass the bill definitely failed. I rolled a 6. That would have turned it into a 5. You need a 1 to a 3.
Personally, I don't listen to like any.
So here's my choice. I can move this left one more,
I do agree, Goosebumps. Just because Travis Scott was
um,
a little kid.
and then I gain a friend.
Little kid dude.
So you can see I already have 4. Or I will gain 1
So
RWC. I'm already maxed. And then I have to choose 1 media relation, 2 public approval, or move a scandal. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and gain the friend. Gaining friends is not easy to do.
Bro got hit by 4 people there.
So wonder why they have a. So this is a
Actually, that Goosebumps is
moderate either way. So this one just doesn't have a picture?
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of this. Alright, and then, yeah, he's moderate either way. So we got plenty of media.
No, it's Goosebumps.
By the way, you only ever get to +3, but since they have 0, and then we're at 5, so I can have 6 friends max. I'll do it, and then here we can introduce bills. So we're still only at 1, and this is the part where I need to roll even. And I do. So our campaign promise was to expand the military. So we need to
Get him.
expand the
Get him,
military
boys.
and get it out there.
Why do you think that's such a
So
good
it's a
song?
split control of Congress, so it goes in the 0 box. So let's go back to here.
It's not that here.
So control is split. So I rolled, I got an even. I placed the
I got
bill in the 0 box. Determine media result. Total then compare the media ratings. So see we're at +3. So we got a much higher media ratings.
Bro, frick Dollhouse. Give me.
By $1 higher for a +3.
No, don't matter is actually okay.
Move public approval, that number of boxes, with a max of 3. So 1, 2, 3. We got her all the way up to 68. And then media relations goes up 1. Perfect. Scandal investigations, adjust.
Give these guys.
If there are more moderates than radicals, there are not. We have 1, 2, 3, 5 radicals. So bipartisan cooperation moves left. One immediate free action for each of your bills that were passed during this segment, which I don't get. And that brings us to the end. And I don't think there's another legislative segment, right? That was our last chance to get something passed. So our campaign promise is at least presented, but it hasn't been passed yet.
She's mid.
Okay, draw a chit. 2 cards, even though there's a plus, we ignore it.
Even though she was in my girly arc. My teen girly phase.
Here's the first one. German prosperity. Improving economy counter in the Eurozone. So that gets rid of that. Increase NATO's relative strength versus Russia by 1. Two tension counters on Russia and 1 on NATO. Russia's got a lot of tension right now.
Get back on the chicken.
1 on NATO. 1 on the
I
UK.
don't like either of these songs. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, and 1 on Canada.
These songs are very big.
Canada's getting angry.
I'm chicken. Don't make me use
Increase the Russia-NATO conflict by 1 and place a 1 AP counter on NATO. That is a good one. Ooh, this is not good. We got to get that reduced. Alright. I don't think we need them going to war. Alright, next one. If neither of India's conflict tracks is greater than 2, oh, India just moved up 1. They're at 3 against Pakistan. Dang it.
It's better than love.
That would have been really nice. If either of India's is greater than 2, Russia and China cooperate to combat terror and government. Reduce the region's highest level terror group by 1 level. And +1 stability, and I actually think I like that one more. Stability goes up. And then it's that region, right? Reduce terror group by 1. Can't be this one, but we can reduce that one. I'm cool with that. Add 1 China. Oh, that part I'm not cool with.
Honestly, all these songs.
1 China and 1 Russia. Yeah, Russia's getting some bases pretty soon. This is not good. That we're going to be in trouble because Russia's getting all these bases, so we're going to end up losing. Alright, next we go to Focus National Intelligence. Okay, we just roll. So I rolled a 2. That becomes a 1.
Okay, I know exactly which one.
Becomes a 0.
I think it's pretty obvious. That's not television.
Just a 0.
No, of course it's television.
So I'm assuming,
Who do you think I am?
I mean, I was able to reduce it to a 0, so I'm assuming that I do the 1 to 2. Alright, so this is our thing. Move a level 3, 2, 1 terror group in that region to the targeting box. Effects on war, choose 1.
Dude, okay.
Add 2 strength to your side, or
Get out of like chatting and stuff.
if there's a civil war, we can try to reduce that. So we're going to get 2 more strength on our side. So this 3 becomes a 5.
No,
13,
it's
15,
clicks
17.
on like my weapon.
Man, we're 1 point short
Why is it doing that?
of having a 3 to 1. Alright,
Why is it doing that?
so that's it. That's all we do here. The 2 strength is appreciated. Not enough to change it, but good. And then 1 action for POTUS and each cabinet member. I still think this is the only places where you get the +1 bonus action, but let me go. I'm going to search Board Game Geek. It's not in the rule books. Okay, so it turns out that my retcon was wrong, but right here you could see even the Board Game Geek folks are confused. Is it correct that the +1
My
action
team
for cabinet
sucked.
members works only
I
for
was like
special
Trump party the
activations?
entire time.
The answer somebody said was yes, but then somebody pointed out that it's, and then they changed their answer and agreed. So basically, the bonus action only occurs here and here. So when we were taking the bonus actions,
Hey,
during
Paul, turn
these
this on.
various steps, um, it was
No, I
uh,
hate all of these
too many
songs that are
times.
coming out.
So what I'm going to do to try to correct that is I'm going to take no actions except
No,
for
it
my
sucks.
presidential one because that one never gets bonus actions. And I'm going to try to make India my best friend again,
No.
and I failed. So I am going to spend an AP to re-roll that. I failed again.
No.
So
Wait,
then I'm going
stop.
to spend 2 AP to get a bonus action because I very much want it to be done, and it is. Okay,
No, I was cooking.
that's it.
I was
I'm not.
cooking that.
I'm not going to do any more because that's going to compensate
I
for.
almost killed you. Don't even.
So yeah, that's the least I could do to try to make up for everything there. So okay, now we do any forward diplomatic or military, and this is a spot where we should have been able to do very strong, right? But yeah, it is what it is. Um,
Okay.
Diplomatic or military is interesting. If I can get these regional crises down to 0 on some of these, I can actually start to remove tension or influence counters, which I need to do. But I have to be at 6 for alignment. This area in particular is horrible. So I'm going to use a military action to do the aid here. That's going to help me possibly remove a footprint as well. So we're going to get a +1. So because of the counters, the influence counters,
All of these
but we
songs
get a
are coming
-1
out.
ourselves. A 3 is an excellent roll. Still not the best we could get, but a trending US.
I hate that song.
So we get rid of this. Or we could get a UN goodwill counter. I'll take the trending. -1 to regional crisis. I could remove a military footprint if it was already at 0. Alright, that's fair. That's fair. Next,
We're gonna have a problem.
the Middle East needs a lot of attention. The
We're
alignment is
having a
6,
big problem right now.
so I could do another military one, or I could just do the diplomatic one to make the regional crisis go down. Uh, I'm gonna do the military one first, because we just get more stuff. So that 6 is still good enough to lower the crisis by 1,
Every good song there is.
and we get 3
Oh my
actions, right?
god.
No, 4. I'm gonna do it again. The 5 also reduces it by 1, but now I'm going to try to get rid of an influence counter, and we're going to go after Russia first. So I got to get the
Dude,
diplomacy one out first.
look at this.
So I need a 1 to a 6. Can only use it once per activation segment.
No,
I rolled a 7. Is there any modifiers?
get my
None.
pillow.
I'm going to spend an AP to roll again. This is important. We got to get rid of these. Them having influence is horrible. We don't want bases. Bases cause us to lose the game. So we at least got one of them down. I mean, we got a concern here. They're making a base, no matter what I do. Um, But yeah, we barreled through our 4 actions like there was no tomorrow. We did a military, 2 militaries, and then a removal. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So next we move to phase 4. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.